Okay. Hey, everybody. This is Olivia Cagle, and I am interviewing Amy. She is going to talk about her testimony with diastasis, the struggles she's had, the victory she's had. Just to give you, I want to do this just to give women hope that feel hopeless, that are dealing with this. And the more women that I can interview, I think the better. So thanks for just watching this and joining. And I've got my phone out because I'm live streaming on Periscope, so people can just ask questions or whatever, even to me or to Amy. So, okay. So it's going to be laid back, and you can just tell your story maybe of how it started. And if I think of any questions, I will pop in there.
Okay. Well, let's see. I have one child by birth, and he just turned 2 on Sunday. And I did not know I had diastasis until after I had him. Like, I noticed, nobody ever talked to me about it. Doctors, nobody ever. I had never even heard of it. I had him via emergency C-section, so I had a tough delivery with him. And he was in the NICU for a little while, and just a lot of stress and everything. And then when I got home, I was so focused, of course, on him and breastfeeding and all that stuff that I wasn't even thinking really too much about my body, other than they were telling me, oh, don't do anything for like 6 weeks. You know, that's what they tell you with C-section, but they didn't really give me too much instruction with that. So then I went back to the doctor at my 6-week checkup. They're like, okay, you're good, you know. So I just thought, well, you know, I don't think my stomach looks right, but it's just, you know, it'll go back to normal. You know, it's only been however many weeks. And I started actually at the 6-week mark, I went out on my first run. So I actually started running, and I was anxious to get out and run. I had ran some while I was pregnant, but then ran into some back issues and had to stop. And so started doing some running again and everything, but I was like, I just can't understand why my stomach, you know, looks this way. And so I started, of course, doing what everybody does now. They Google things and look things up, and I came across information about diastasis, and I was like, so I laid down and I did this check, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have this gap in my stomach. Like, I didn't even realize it. Like, I knew my belly button didn't look right and stuff, but I just thought that was because everything was stretched out and it would go back to normal. So, so then after doing that was probably about, Caleb was probably, October, December, the end of December, I had my first appointment with a physical therapist, just to and she measured me at like a 2-3-2. So my gap wasn't like huge to start with. I mean, I know some women have 4 or 5, 6 fingers. She measured me at a 2-3-2, and the initial person I went to see, she was a lot further away than I could have really gone for regular appointments. But she's the only person I could find. When I first looked up, somebody had helped me to find somebody who specialized in that. And so she gave me some initial sort of small exercises that I could do, but I said, I'm going to see if I can find somebody closer, So, so I did. I found somebody eventually. I'm trying to think when I started then. It was a few months until I went back to physical therapy. And the first person I saw was not real knowledgeable. She was a pelvic floor specialist, but she just didn't seem very knowledgeable about, she had knowledge, but she kept telling me my abs were torn, and they're not torn. They're separated, I learned later. And so she taught me about abdominally bracing, but nothing about breathing, nothing about alignment really, so I left there and I didn't know about any of that stuff at the time. So I left there kind of, she'd given me exercises. I could definitely tell I was stronger, and my back didn't hurt anymore, but I was still my stomach just looks weird. It's not changing at all, in appearance. And it's just, something is not I feel like I should be seeing better results. I'm maybe it just takes time, So, I tried the Mutu program for a while. But that didn't, I don't know. It works for a lot of women. It just was not for me. Whether or not, I think some of the exercises that she actually starts you on are too advanced for some people, looking now. So anyway, long story short, I ended up with another physical therapist later who gave me, she was definitely more knowledgeable, and I had a tight pelvic floor. I ended up seeing her because I was leaking too.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that I don't feel like I initially had trouble with, but with doing various exercises, I tightened up my pelvic floor more. And so anyway, so I was having some problems with that. So saw her for that. And so she gave me exercises and things to do. And I did close the gap a little more, but I was just like, why does my stomach look like this? And I just like, so I did her stuff for a while. And then like, I just sound like a person who just jumps from one thing to the next, I guess. But I did her stuff for a while, but then she gave me, she's like, come back in like, 8 weeks when those exercises get easy, and I'll give you some other ones. So she gave me some more advanced ones. I went back and they were too advanced. Like she had me doing planks and stuff, modified at first. And she also had me doing stuff with oh my gosh, I can't think of the word.
That's okay.
With when you put a, oh my gosh, with like support, like with like a support band or whatever.
Okay.
And around my stomach. And so, I mean, I think that helped. But I don't know. I was not having the results that I wanted. So I was trying like the newer exercises she gave me. They were too advanced. I felt like I actually went backwards. So then but I was so discouraged because the exercises she had me doing before, it took me like an hour a day to do those exercises, like to get through them, however many sets and all that. And I'm like,
hard as a mom.
right. And it was like, and she said like, oh yeah, do them like every day. And like, I felt like for all that I was doing, I was not seeing,
The results that you want.
Results that I wanted. And again, she didn't talk about alignment or breathing, anything. So when I was kind of desperate and I Googled again, I can't remember when I initially emailed you, but it was probably, I think it was like last winter. And I was just kind of desperate. Like I was just feeling like, oh my gosh, like this is never going to go away. And I was like,
remember that.
why hasn't this person come up before? And I guess it's because your program was brand new at the time.
Well, I worked one-on-one
with people, but online you didn't have.
Yeah.
So anyway, because I don't remember ever seeing really anything of yours come up before. And so I was like, so I emailed you. I liked how personal you were. I liked that you were a Christian. I liked that, and this was the first I'd ever heard about breathing exercises. And I was like, oh, the breathing. So I'm like, what's this? So, so then I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And I will tell you, I mean, I told you the first weeks I was doing the breathing, like I saw a difference just in how my stomach looked. Like it started to sort of look more normal. Like right after I would do the breathing, like I would still deal with bloating and stuff, but like it would look more normal right after I would do the breathing exercises. And so that gave me hope. And through doing your program, I closed my gap down to, I want to say it was probably a 1 at the belly button, maybe a little more, and less than 1 everywhere else. Well, more recently I had widened it a little bit again here, but
and that depth is important.
Yeah, and the depth I know the depth is getting finally shallower. It was like probably, I'm trying to think. I never like measured like as far as like, but I want to say it was like probably, now it's probably just like to my fingernail, like the
that's good. Yeah.
Like my maybe a little bit, not the first knuckle. It used to be like probably beyond the first knuckle. So it was pretty deep at the belly, and that's still where it's the deepest. And everywhere else it's really shallow. But like right in that belly button area, which is where I was the poochiest, it's definitely, that's where it's the deepest. So, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's been a lot of ups and downs. And intermittently throughout that whole time of a year or more, year and a half in the last, there's been times where I've ran for periods and I'm like, okay, well maybe it's my running. So I've stopped running and I've given that up for periods. So like, that's been a whole nother roller coaster because I'm a runner and I love to run. And, I was definitely, wanting to get back into that. And I'm realizing now that some people say you really shouldn't go run again until 6 months after you've had a C-section. Nobody ever told me that, but that's what I'm learning now. It's major abdominal surgery and I don't know. Maybe I caused my diastasis post-surgery. I don't know,
You
but
definitely could have. And then if you don't, running can make it worse. So let me ask you this. When did you know, have you just continued running this whole time? Taking a break? When did you stop running? When did you think, okay, I'm going to start this again?
Right. Well, I stopped, like I said, 6 weeks post C-section. I'm like, I'm going to go out for a run, I'm good. And it was a short run, but, and I felt pretty good, but I realized, at that time, my son wasn't even 3 months old. So it was like trying to fit it in. And I did have a jogging stroller, but we live in a hilly area. And I was just like, there was no way. Like I got out to walk with him as much as possible, but I was trying to run maybe 2-3 times a week, just a couple miles, just to sort of get back into it. And it was probably when I started physical therapy, the lady told me, she's like, no, you can run. She said, maybe just, keep it, easy and everything. So I kept running. Well, then when I started doing, trying the MUTU program, she really discourages higher impact things like that until the healing so I'm like, okay, I'll stop for a while. I'll do those workouts. I'll stop running. So I did stop running for, I think back, probably a month or more, which doesn't maybe seem like long, but it was long enough that I'm like, I feel like if it's making a difference, I should see a difference in a month. And I didn't really see much of a difference. So I'm just like, screw it, I'm going running again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, different times I've taken like breaks here and there of like a month or more. When I was actually doing your program, I stopped for a while and just focused on the workouts and really trying to just get stronger. And one thing the one physical therapist also really helped me with was she did teach me a lot of stretches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also something, and I stretch much more religiously with my, like after running, and just, I was stretching every day. That's part of what was taking so long too. I was stretching every day, like doing multiple stretches, but I think that really helped in a lot of areas because I have really tight hamstrings as a runner. I have really tight hamstrings and different areas that tend to really tighten up. So I really try to make that a priority. I was really bad I had gotten really lax about running and just coming back and not stretching. And, and so I've really realized how important that is to incorporate. So, yeah, running wise, then I started running more, I'm trying to think, this past summer and spring into summer. And I was feeling strong and feeling pretty good. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to sign up for a half marathon again and train because I really want that routine. And, but I realized when I started that one thing that I did differently that I haven't done before is I asked a person in our running club who is certified in like coaching and stuff to do a plan for me. And I kind of gave him, I gave him some of my history and my recent, like struggles. And he's a doctor and he also is like, has a certification to do like run coach. And so that was really good for me because he started me out he gave me pace time, like a slow pace, low mileage, and just had me really build slowly. And I needed that, like I needed somebody to tell me what to do. So I didn't just go out and, try to tear it up. So he helped me with that. And that, I think that was part of the key too, for me to have success in getting back into running. But I will say only in the last probably several weeks of my training, like I started my half marathon training in, let's see, I'm in about the 10th week now, ninth or 10th week. And I started back in August and I just in the last few weeks I really started to really feel more connected and stronger in my core when I'm running. Mm-hmm. Like really, like I had really tried to work on the breathing and stuff before, but I feel like it's coming a lot more naturally.
Good.
Like to breathe correctly and to, like I noticed that like just in like the last couple of weeks that I really I feel just tighter and stronger. I don't know how to explain it. But when
and
I'm
that's a journey for you. If somebody asked real quick, yes, I think that's Angie who was on here asking a question. The stretching she was talking about was part of a PT program. So, but journey, look, she's had, I mean, it's been a long journey. And I know my boot camp is 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
People see results in that,
Mm-hmm.
but this is something that you need to continue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that's going to make you stronger. Just like she's saying, she feels stronger and more connected,
Mm-hmm.
Than she has before. So that's really important to know, continuing the alignment and the breathing. And it's hard to change that. I mean, because we've been out of alignment, and breathing incorrectly for all of our lives. So
Mm-hmm.
for you to say it's becoming more natural, you're really, great job, because you're doing it on a consistent basis.
It's always kind of in the back of my mind now, like, especially like the alignment piece. Like I'm a butt tucker. I'm,
Mm-hmm.
and so, but that learning about that, I think, is the key, like in your program, just not, I mean, Mood 2 talks about that too, but I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe it was timing or whatever, it just really clicked for me with your program. Just like, or maybe it's just the way you explain things. I don't know, but I just felt, like I was able to just, like, I definitely saw the most progress that I've made in an 8-week period doing your program. And I was like, I didn't want it to be over. And then I did the boot camp then, and I saw more progress than during the boot camp. But
and then I'm trying to do the Fit-Tabulous Moms Club to keep it going.
Yeah.
Women who want to keep doing the exercises.
Right.
I had a lot of women ask me that, so I was like, okay, we'll do this.
Well, and the other week, I mean, I try to incorporate those workouts. Like I said, I want to do it more again when I'm done with this half marathon, but oh my gosh, like I will be sore the next day from your workouts. So.
I know. And see, this is something that I wanted to, I think a lot of people think they can't ever work out again, mm-hmm. but you just have to know how to work out. And so she was saying, I don't know if y'all caught this at the beginning, she kind of widened up again, and she thought it was the running, but what she was doing was too many planks. She's thinking, right? Isn't that what you're saying, Amy?
Yeah. Too many like planks, and maybe like doing the full plank, like trying to do the full plank and holding it, too long, and doing too much stuff where it was really putting too much, more than I wasn't probably able to engage like I should have been,
Right. So you've modified it, and then
mm-hmm.
in a week's time,
mm-hmm.
it's
a week or 2 times. I mean, I'm serious. Like it has, like I was at times feeling like, I feel like mine kind of fluctuates, but I was at times feeling like I could almost get 2 fingers in there. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, in like a week's time, I can get like 1 finger in there at belly button and everything, and maybe less elsewhere. Like, so in like a week or 2's time, and I don't know if that's because I had a good amount of strength there. It's just, I was doing things that were putting too much pressure on that tissue, I guess,
Yes.
And I did realize when I was doing some planking, if I wasn't really careful, or if I was really fatigued, like I would have some like coning, still. So then I'm like, no, I shouldn't be doing this, but other times I could hold it. So it was just, I don't know.
It's a matter of knowing your body. It's mm-hmm. a matter of knowing if you're ready. Mm-hmm. Can you engage? Can you lift your pelvic floor? Can you breathe correctly? There's a lot going on that you have to think about. So sometimes you just got to slow it down. Mm-hmm. And now you're able to squat more. Mm-hmm. And you're squat.
It took me a long time, because I was trying it before I even came to you. It took me a long time to get back into that, be able to master a correct squat.
And squats are so important.
Encouragement. Like I have Katie Bowman's book and stuff. So I did like the modified, like the holding onto a door handle and going, and I still sometimes feel like if I'm tight or something, like I'll still do it that way to make sure that I'm, so I can get lower. But like, it took me a long time to be like strong enough in my butt to really do that correctly, which is like crazy. But I realizing that maybe I never did squats correctly, I don't know.
When I'm like, where are y'all feeling that?
Yeah.
In the front of my thighs. You're not doing it right. Come on. You got to feel this in your butt. So I've got to get him to feel it.
I keep adjusting until I feel it in my butt, and then I'm like, okay, there's my spots.
Yeah. And it's important because glutes and pelvic floor, they're kind of like BFFs. Mm-hmm. So you got to learn how to work all of that together. Mm-hmm. So when you modify, like with some of the workouts, are they still hard? Do you still see results even though you're modifying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think with the modifications, definitely, like, cause I mean, I was doing like, you would show us the modified, like the the tricep push-ups and stuff like that from your knees or like on the wall, I still think I mean, if you got proper form, you can still, like, it's still hard, you know? And just making sure, like, I've always had good arm strength, and now I'm carrying around this 20 whatever 7-pound child probably all the time. So, cause he pretends he can't walk, but anyway, but I feel like, yeah, like it just really, I mean, I feel like my arm strength, my, back strength. Yeah. I still think that exercises work if they're like if you're engaging your muscles correctly and you're focusing on, what you're doing and you're breathing, I think they still
So you
work.
can get a good workout. If you have diastasis, you just have to know how to do it correctly.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you also, you said something that I want you to tell them about because they can have hope. They need to know they can have hope. You were talking about toning in your midsection that you see. So I don't remember exactly what
I was telling Olivia that I was just like, and I guess this should have been my sign that I was either not doing things correctly or doing too much. It's been 2 years and I just have had just the lower part of my midsection, like the lower part of my stomach, like around my belly button and below, like I just have a horrible time. Like I'm like, you think doing all these exercises, I should be able to see some like toning happening. Like it just felt like my belly button still kind of like popped, not completely out, but just, anyway, since modifying and focusing more on the breathing and stuff while doing, like, I've been doing more like, rather than trying to like hold a plank, like maybe I'll do a modified plank or a plank on the wall, but then I've been doing a lot of like the core, like the pumping, like the core compression. Anyway, doing that, has, like I said, narrowed my gap, and I'm seeing like finally that sort of like toning along, like that's happening down there. So, a little bit. So, and I feel like, and also my belly button is not like, I'm still dealing with bloating, but my belly button is not like distended out like it was, like it's going in.
And like, stress, do you think not stressing, have you seen a difference with bloating with stress with you?
Yes.
So I've tried to tell women a lot, stress
that has been a big part of my journey. Yeah.
Stress has been a big part of your journey.
Well, the stressing about it. And I mean, not that I have this big stressful life. My husband would just tell you I'm a ball of stress about. I'll find something to stress about.
People are just higher stressed people.
I'm a higher anxiety person. But I mean, I had struggled in the past with like an eating disorder and body image stuff. So like when I was younger, so like this was like a major thing. I've always been able to like control my body. You know what I mean? Like as far as like, I mean, I got help for all that and I was better from all that. But like the running, like I've always been able to like, okay, if I want to like lose a few pounds, I can lose a few pounds. If I want to tone up, I can tone up. Well, this was like foreign. Like I could not, no matter what I did, I like couldn't fix this, just, or not like quickly anyway. And so I was just getting really discouraged and really, and, people say, oh, you look great. You can't even see it, and I was just like, but that there's something wrong and you don't feel right. And so, yeah, stressing about it is huge. And I have found that since just kind of relaxing more, and maybe that has more to do with it too than even the exercises I was doing in the last week or two, but I think just relaxing more and just trying to listen to my body, and just when I'm doing that, I see a difference. And
it's amazing what stress does to our body.
Yeah.
When you can learn to also, because you talked about tight pelvic floor, and that probably
that gets worse if I'm stressing.
Yes, you probably hold stress in your pelvic floor. So getting in correct alignment, breathing with your diaphragm so it can do its job, that will actually help open that pelvic floor. So you untuck, you breathe with the diaphragm, it pushes those organs down and lengthens your pelvic floor, opens it up. So people who are high stressed or have a tight pelvic floor need to learn diaphragmatic breathing, and you have to have correct alignment to do it. You got to untuck that butt so everything goes correctly, So now, do you think that? Let me ask you this about you do long distance running, and I'm that girl who's like, why do you run? I don't get that. I like to sprint because there's a lot.
I like to do that too.
There's so much benefits, even for hormones for sprinting. So do you think that, and burning fat is great. Sprinting is amazing. Look at a sprinter's body. Look at a long distance runner's So you get hormone benefits with sprinting. But do you feel a difference? Like, you run long distance.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like sprinting is easier for you and on diastasis pelvic floor? Because when I sprint, I'll sprint maybe 30 seconds or however long, and then I walk, and then I'll do it again, and then I'll walk, and maybe do that 8 times, 10 times, however many I can do at that time. Do you feel like for your diastasis, like I said, my clients are my best teachers.
Right.
I have noticed all of them are different, and that's why I like to do my boot camps, because I can get in there on video chats with them and help them individually. But is it easier on your diastasis sprinting or long distance?
I don't know if I can speak to that, because I haven't done a lot of sprinting with my training here. Running fast is something I love to do. I was a fast 5K-er and I was really fast when I was younger. So I do like to do intervals, because like you said, they're good for, like, I would like to do on my runs before I had my child, I would do like bursts of speed, and then jog, and then, things like that. But I haven't done much of that in this recent training. I feel like right now when I run faster, it's a little harder for me to focus on or to know if I'm engaging correctly or breathing correctly, because it's just harder for me to, because you're breathing heavier and you're, but I haven't noticed, though, that the times that I have, that it's made anything worse, as far as my diastasis.
I was just curious for you, how that.
I can get back to you on that one, because I'll be adding more of that eventually, because like you said, I know that that's better for fat loss and all that. Yeah. But
yes. And it's discouraging for moms that have to deal with this. Do you work on alignment when you run? So you work on alignment?
I have tried to. I feel like my running form before I had, or like probably running when I was pregnant, some and everything, obviously that was probably not a good idea. But I feel like my running form before I had my son, or like before I was pregnant, was pretty good. I had been running for distance and they say the more you run, the more efficient you become as a runner. And I'd had several people tell me that like my form looked pretty good, as far as like I wasn't a rib flare usually. Now sometimes I think when I run faster I might tend to do that, but I wasn't a rib flare and things like that. And I think actually my breathing was probably pretty good too, because I had never really in my life had a real tight midsection, but I'll tell you, when I was running the most, I had the best looking midsection. So I'm thinking that I probably was doing something right.
Yeah, but running and sprinting can do that for your
I was fast. I mean, even
it can hurt it, make it worse.
So I mean, that being said, I have been, though, I do try to be conscious of that, especially when I started running, and especially with this and realizing how important that is. I don't think I had ever really paid mind to it before, whether or not I was, but now I really try to make sure that I'm not, I'm trying to push off more from my glutes and all that. It's a lot to keep in mind when you're running, and I don't do it perfectly, but I'm definitely mindful of it.
But you've come a long way.
Yeah.
You have come a long way. And I think that that's what everybody on here, I think, and you would probably say the same thing, is it takes work, right?
Yeah, it does. You have to be pretty determined, and I guess some people, it does, I know some people have had success with just healing this quicker than others, but I don't know, maybe I've made it more complicated with all my stress and everything, but it takes work. And yeah, I don't know, though. I mean, I'm glad, like, it's definitely been a learning journey for me, and it's taught me about myself. Like, I've had to learn how to deal, like, emotionally. Yeah, I don't know. Just with acceptance, with just a lot of things, of this is where I'm at. And I look at my son and I'm like, I mean, my goodness, I wouldn't want it any, I wish I could have had him and not had this, but like, that was the best, he's the best thing I've ever, been able to accomplish. So
and that's a great way to look at it.
So, yeah.
For somebody go ahead.
I was gonna say, I can't look at him and be mad very long, like I have to just get my mind off myself sometimes and just be like, oh my goodness, it's not that big of a deal. And my husband says to me, oh my goodness, there are so many women who would love to look as good as you do, and blah, 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 and he's like, you're making it bigger than it is. But, when I'm like, I know, you just don't understand. I'm like, you don't understand. And so for women who, there are other women out there who get it. So,
well, you've dealt with body image things.
Yeah.
You already said that. So, and then you had this pop up. So, you know what? It's not only, this has helped you in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've had to overcome things emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
And physically.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it
I have my up days and down days. It's not like, oh, I've arrived and I'm doing, like I definitely have my days where I have these moments, but it's a journey. And I just I'm like, you just got to keep going.
Yeah.
Got to keep going.
Keep going. And so I guess to wrap this up, I would just say, if you have diastasis, you just have to stay determined and focused that and I was telling Amy, I said, we all want one magic exercise or one magic pill, but that's not the case. It does take work. You do have to be determined, and not perfection, just consistency and finding your routine in it, being mindful, changing. It's a lifestyle change, learning correct alignment, learning correct breathing, how to work out correctly. It's a mind shift change. It really starts in here. You've got to really be thinking about it. But the more you do it, like you said, the more natural you'll get at it, and you may fall off doing it, and then you can come back and it's there. So I would, people are like, can it reopen afterwards? Well, if you stop working out a bicep or any muscles, you're going to lose that muscle. So you can lose the strength of your TVA. The more you do it, though, well, here's what's really cool is that your depth is getting better. More people are so focused on the width. That depth getting shallower is huge.
I've actually read some people say they might have a 2-finger gap, but it's really shallow and they have a flat stomach and they've got strength and function. So that's what I've been trying to focus on too. I realized it is the depth more than I've never had a super, super wide gap, but it was pretty deep at the one area. And I'm realizing that it's the strengthening of that tissue. And I think the deeper your gap, the more you have to be careful. The deeper it is, the more you have to be careful what you're doing.
You do. You have to be careful.
Because that's the tissue you're looking to strengthen. And you can so easily there was a time I could so easily bulge that out, or just I'd lean back and I could just bulge it out. And whereas that's getting less and less, so.
That depth is what some of the most scary, if some women have seen some diastasis pictures, some of the most scariest ones is that depth.
I've seen some really bad ones.
Yeah, and they can have just this much of width, but it can be pretty bad depth-wise. So you just have to continue. And I'm not, people are like, are you against surgery? I'm not against whatever you feel like you need to do. However, if you do get surgery, you don't learn to correct the root problem. Right. And so even if you decide, hey, I want a super, super, super flat tummy and you want to get surgery, I would encourage you to still learn how to function correctly. Just like if you have a sprained ankle or sprained back, there's a weakness there that you want to be careful with. So you just want to learn how to be gentle with it and be consistent with healing it. So, and I don't know if you've done the bone broth stuff, but the bone broth has been shown that it's starting to come in and help heal tissue. So that's another thing that people can do. I encourage people to do a 30-day challenge of drinking a cup of bone broth a day.
I should do that because I did make a bunch and I use it in recipes and stuff, but I was taking a collagen supplement, but like a powder. Yeah. But I was didn't get into drinking the actual bone broth, but I should try that and see if that helps my gut.
Give it a try and see what happens. I want my clients to do this because I want to see what happens, but getting them to do a 30-day, just a little difficult. But, and I have a class that's free and it's called Heal I can't even remember what it's called. When did she say she started work? Somebody's asking, when did she say she started to work on it?
I would say I really started to work on it. I had my son in October of 2014. And like I said, I went to see a physical therapist at the end of December because I realized that it wasn't right. But then she gave me a few simple things to do. I didn't really do them very consistently. And then I probably really started to work on it when I started physical therapy, and I think it was that February of 2015. So it was, how old would my son have been? October, November, December, January. He was about 4 months old or so.
Okay.
And so I've been working on it not quite 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Okay. Yeah.
But it had some sort of back and forth. I feel like if I would have learned about the alignment and breathing sooner, that really would have helped,
Mm-hmm.
I learned some of that in Mutu, but I don't know. I just felt like it was very confused. I don't know, or maybe I just wasn't ready to hear it. Maybe it just sounded like too much work. I don't know, but it helped to simplify it when you're just focus on it for 10 minutes a day. I think it was overwhelming to me to think about it for,
Well, we're moms.
Yeah.
We don't have time to do all this. My workouts, they're going to have to be 15 minutes to 25 minutes.
And that's what I liked. That's what I liked about your program as well. But I think if I would have learned that stuff sooner, and I will say this too, if you're breastfeeding, you may not see the progress that you want to see because your body, and I read this several places, and then my physical therapist, actually the second one that knew more, she said to me, "Are you breastfeeding still?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And I didn't breastfeed my son very long. I wanted to, but we just weren't very successful with our rough start. I did pump for him for several months, but anyway, it can be 6 months. I have heard this multiple times, that until you are about 6 months post breastfeeding, your body is, it's so much working to produce milk and everything that it's not going to be, you're going to see, I definitely saw more results the second time I went to physical therapy. And I honestly think that was because I was kind of at that 6 month post breastfeeding point. I honestly think that helped as well.
Yep. I've had clients who have seen results better results.
Better results.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you can't get results, don't get me wrong at all, but definitely I've read that and I've heard other people say that. And I think for me too, your body is even after you're done breastfeeding, it takes a while to get back to
I know, we've got lots of hormones.
Yeah. It's
changing and doing different things. And
I said to my husband, I think I've finally started feeling semi-normal again.
I know. I breastfed
more recently.
3. She just turned 3.
Yeah.
I stopped breastfeeding her a week before she turned 3 because I was like, oh my goodness. So
yeah,
I'm breastfeeding twins. She says this could be my problem. So when you're breastfeeding twins, you've got them. You're probably
and you're and the position you're in when you're breastfeeding and stuff too. It's just, it's all hard on your, on your alignment. Yeah. And I even spent months pumping, and the position, I was often slouching over my breast pump, and just my back would be aching, and, just trying to be in the best position. And cause you can't lay down and, so.
But I would encourage you, don't not work on it if you're breastfeeding, because you're going to continue to get stronger. And think about all the work you can do even while you're breastfeeding, and then
you can just do the breathing,
the breathing homework, right? Yeah, exactly.
I think that makes a big difference right there. Even if that's all you have time for, I think that definitely, you're connecting with those muscles and everything. And I think it definitely makes a difference.
It's huge to connect those 4 inner core muscles. It just is. So I do have a free class, and you can look on my, for those on Periscope, my bio has the link to it. But it's bit.ly/healing diastasis or heal diastasis. Same here with my twins. Pain. So another one with breastfeeding. So back pain. That's difficult. So, and when you strengthen those inner core muscles, it's going to help with back pain.
It does. I had back pain. I actually, when I was still pregnant, I threw my back out. That's what stopped my running. And when I say threw my back out, I mean, I was in so much pain I could hardly walk. Went to the chiropractor, and but yeah, long story short, my back pain, I had it off and on until I was in physical therapy and doing like some exercise and stuff regularly. And you don't think about it, I wasn't focusing on my back, but like you said, strengthening those abdominals and your core, my back pain went away.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing what that can do. So that's a huge, I mean, so many women deal with that back pain.
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all have any questions, also, if you didn't get that link, you can go to fitabulousmoms.com. You can get there at my name, oliviacagle.com. I have stuff forwarded to that site. There's a contact tab that pops up, and you can just email me any questions you have. Feel free just to, I like to answer any questions that y'all send me. So I hope this has given people hope. Do you have anything else to say? Or are you good, Amy?
Off the top of my head, I can't really think. I just, just don't give up, and it is a journey, and definitely like the breathing and the alignment and all of that are more important than working out hard. Like sometimes one thing I will say is another thing I've learned is it depends on your body type, but I think for me, being a high stress person, sometimes working out hard just elevates almost like, the whole cortisol connection and everything like that. I've really actually started to really like the yoga videos that you post or that you link us to on the Fitabulous Moms with Christina, the Yoga Lattes. I like that on sort of my off running days. Sometimes I feel like those are more helpful than and even in the low impact workouts and being able to see results and realizing you don't have to like kill yourself,
Right. And I love that Christina's posting those. And if y'all want to know what that is, I do a Fitabulous Moms Club. I started it for women who graduated the Diastasis boot camp so that they could continue having exercises that were diastasis safe. But there's modifications in there that are more advanced, and
it's been great. I download all the workouts, and so even if I don't do all of them 1 month, or whatever, I'll come, I can go back to them, and I'll have this variety of workouts that I can do, for how. So
yeah. Well, this has been great, and Amy, thank you so much for doing this, and I know that it gives these moms hope. It really does. So I really appreciate it. Because all the emails I get, is it really possible to do this? And can you feel it? Can you? So I just appreciate you doing this.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just don't feel discouraged. Like I think like doing the breathing and just eliminating stress and trying to drink lots of water too for the body. It sounds, like I drink a ton of water, and I can tell on days when I don't drink enough. Diet's a whole other area, but yeah, try to eat good, like nutrition, because that definitely helps like building your body back up. And
nutrition's huge, and finding out which foods trigger you to bloat.
Mm-hmm.
So you can even keep a food journal if you want to go that deep and figure out which ones bloat you. I know gluten is a biggie. Dairy can be a biggie. Even sugar-free gum can, broccoli, there's a list of it, but a lot of times even onions, you just have to kind of figure out which ones affect you.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks guys for hopping on here and watching, and we enjoyed it. All right. Bye.